So welcome if you're joining us live on this beautiful sunny Saturday morning. Thanks for being inside, or maybe you're outside. Maybe this is a wonderful chance to be able to take your yoga studio into your yard. Or if you're on YouTube, welcome, whatever the weather is. Chelsea just filmed a little kids and family kind of yoga class, and she was telling me about the adventure that you go on, as is typical in a kids yoga class, where there's, meeting lots of trees and forest animals and boats and all the different yoga poses. So we often practice kids yoga as like a little story. And I was thinking to myself, like, it's sort of sad that we lose that when we get into adult yoga. There's all this sort of creativity and symbolic power in the names of the yoga poses that we don't pay enough attention to, actually. So all of the poses have names. Usually they're something in nature, or there's some poses who are named after like important sages, or a common one that we know, warrior poses. The warrior 1, 2, and 3, they're called Virabhadrasana in Sanskrit, and Virabhadra was actually a specific warrior person. But I think always there's an opportunity to really like embody the qualities of whatever the name of the pose is. So it's not just about like naming the shape, but really about naming what that shape means. So if we think of something like tree pose, we don't just want to like look like a tree, but we really want to feel like, where are the roots, where are the branches, where is that sort of fresh, leafy, green quality in the way that we do the pose. And in the warrior pose the same. We can feel like, where is the stability and the courage of that pose. So there's a lot more room for being a little bit more adventurous and magical in our practice. So maybe that's something we can invite in today, just to allow ourselves to sort of believe in the symbolic meaning of the names, maybe in a more potent way. We'll start seated, and you can come into a cross-legged seat or whatever kind of seat you like, maybe kneeling to switch it up and choose what feels good for you. And we're going to start with a few mudras. So mudras are hand gestures, or sometimes there are other parts of the body used in gesture, but usually we talk about mudras as gestures of the hands. And they're just ways of sort of finding that symbolic power. So each of the ways that we shape our hands has a certain meaning. I think one that most of us know is this sort of prayer shape, and then we say namaste, and it has the specific meaning of the light that is within me, honors the light that is within you. So it's really not just the word namaste, but that shape of the hand has a lot more in it than just bringing your palms together. So we'll find a few different hand shapes that we can think about in different ways. You can start by just sitting up nice and tall and closing your eyes, and begin to find your breath. Letting the shoulders soften away from your ears, letting your hips settle towards the floor. And noticing the path of your breath in your nose and your throat, in the space of your torso. And feel all of the refreshing, invigorating qualities of your breathing. Notice how your breath brings you into this present moment. Good. And then we'll find these series of hand mudras, and you'll probably want to open your eyes just so that you can see what we're doing. The first one is the mudra for unshakable faith or trust. So we interlace the fingers, and in this case we'll just bring the palms to the heart. And you can spread your elbows out wide and kind of feel that connection between the fingers as you draw your elbows outwards and you lift your heart up towards your palms. And we breathe here with the hands on the chest. So this is just a gesture of showing trust or faith in whatever is presented to us in this experience of life. And just take a few breaths into the space of your hands. You really feel how you're breathing into that cup of your palms. And again, that feeling of connection between the fingers that gives us a solidity and a center line in the body. Good. And then from here we can link into Garuda Mudra, which is the eagle mudra. So we spin the thumbs towards each other, and then you take your fingers outwards. So the back of one hand will be resting against the palm of the other, and the thumbs are then sort of hooked, and the fingers are like eagle wings. And you can again rest those hands against your heart. The eagle is always the symbol in Hindu mythology of determination and discipline and this sort of perseverance to move forward. So take a few breaths into that feeling of the eagle spreading its wings. Good. And then we can spin the palms back towards each other, and you connect the heel of the hand and the inner line of the thumb and the inner line of the finger, and this gives us Padma Mudra, which is the lotus mudra. And the lotus is the symbol of from perseverance or from the mud blooming into a beautiful flower. The lotus always grows in sort of silty, muddy waters, but it's a beautiful symbol of purity that comes out of that challenge of muddy water. So we'll just go through those a few times, and you can kind of make it a meditative experience and really feel how your hands connect. Like, feel how your fingers are a powerful tool. So we interlace the fingers, we bring the palms to the heart, unshakable faith. And then we spin the thumbs together and we spread those eagle wings for perseverance, discipline. And then you bring the palms together and you spread the fingers out into that lotus cup, the blossom that comes out of that work. And then we'll just do that again. Unshakable faith, the fingers interlacing together, breathing into the palms of the hands, hooking the thumbs, spreading out through the wings of your fingers, getting ready for flight. And then bringing the heel of the hand together and floating up through that lotus. One more time. So unshakable faith, fingers interlacing, hooking the thumbs, spreading out the wings of the eagle, and then connecting the palms, or the heel of the palm rather, and spreading the fingers out into the cup of the lotus flower. And then maybe with your eyes closed, let's do that one last time, just following your own rhythm and making it a meditation of the hands. Good. And then from there, we'll place the hands towards the floor and find the way to all fours, however you like to get there. So you can set your knees under your hips, your wrists under your shoulders, fingers spread comfortably wide apart. Again, you can feel that power in your hands. The hands are such an important part of stability whenever they're on the floor. And feel not just that the hands are carrying weight, but that your fingers too are carrying weight. So you really lean into the pads of your fingers. From here, inhaling into our cow shapes, really thinking about the scoop of the spine of the cow, but also the stability of the shoulders of the cow. And then as you exhale, rounding through the back, like a cat sticking up all of its fur. And then we inhale again to come into that graceful swoop of the cow spine, lengthening your belly, exhaling to round, and seeing really arch through the whole line of your back body. And then just a few more times, following your own smooth rhythm of breath. And really feeling the sort of polar opposite experiences of the spine as you transition through these two shapes. And noticing how much mobility and space we have in the spine, how much opportunity we have to create shapes in the spine. And with your next inhale, you can come back to a neutral shape in the spine. We'll keep the left hand rooted. As you inhale, reach your right arm up to the ceiling. So open the chest up nice and wide. And then exhale to thread your right arm under your left, or easing into a little twist. And inhale again to reach the right arm up and open, spread the chest wide. Exhale, right arm under left, settling down. And one more time, inhale to reach the right arm up and open, pressing down through your left hand as much as you stretch up through that right. And exhaling right under left, finding the threaded shape of the twist. Good, we'll inhale to reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. And then exhaling just to set that right hand down under your right shoulder, and we'll switch sides. Next inhale takes the left arm up towards the ceiling or the sky. Exhale to thread the left arm under the right. Inhale, the left arm reaching up and opening and really reaching out through both of your arms. Exhaling, left under right. One more time, inhaling, the left arm reaching up and open, spreading the chest wide. And then exhale, threading into that little twist. Maybe settling your shoulder, your head towards the floor. And we'll inhale to reach the left arm up and open. And then from there, exhaling just to set the left hand down to the floor under your left shoulder. Good. Stepping back into a plank shape. And then from here, we'll just find a comfortable flow. So you can do whatever works for you. Exhaling to lower, maybe knees first, maybe one straight line. Inhaling to a cobra or upward dog. Exhaling to take the hips up and back to a downward dog as examples. If you wanted to do something else, then of course, feel free. And we'll just take a few moments here to get comfortable in this first downward dog. You might walk the dog, as they say. So bending the knees, rocking the hips. Maybe thinking about what walking your dog might mean. Like, is that a space in your day where you get a chance to clear your head, where you go at a leisurely pace, where there's no reason to rush? You're not getting to somewhere, but rather just going on this experience of moving at an animal pace. Yeah. And then we'll bring the right knee down to the floor and root the sole of your left foot. You might step your right hand forward a little bit just to make some more space for the shoulder. And then we'll take the left arm up towards the ceiling, open the chest nice and wide. From here, reaching your left arm alongside your left ear, breathing into the space of your left side body. And I really like this variation, and because mostly my information for what kind of practice we're doing comes from my own body, because I don't have any other bodies to look at. Maybe you like it too. We bring the left hand to the back of the head, wrap your left elbow kind of in towards your face, and then reach the point of the elbow forward. So it just helps us to get a little bit more into the space of the left side body, the upper back. You can kind of feel a little bit of a back bend here as you reach your heart forward. Good. And then we'll exhale to bring the left hand back down. Tuck your left toes under. Shift your right knee maybe a little bit more into the middle of your mat, so it's still underneath your body, but just a little bit more into the middle. And then you can swing that lower right leg over to the left. We're going to snuggle the left knee in behind the right and bring the lower left leg over to the right. So the legs are crossed and the heels are kind of out towards the edges of your mat. And then we're going to come up onto the fingertips and just taking your time slowly. It's a little bit of a balance challenge, seeing if you can come all the way up to kneeling here. And then we'll reach the arms up to the ceiling. Good. And then from here, you can cross your right arm under your left, bend the elbows. Maybe you can bring the palms together, maybe the backs of the hands. Maybe you just like to set your hands to your shoulders. So finding these Garuda arms now, eagle arms. Seeing if we can hug the center line through the legs, through the arms to give us a little bit of stability. Maybe as you're lifting your hips away from your heels, you're finding a stretch through the outer edges or the fronts of the hips. A little bit of space in the backs of the shoulders, breathing into that point between your shoulder blades. Find a steady point for your gaze. So whenever we have this eagle shape, we can think about piercing vision of the eagle, and that really helps us to balance. So looking to one side or the other of your arms and really bringing focus to some point on the floor in front of you that's not moving. And then we'll unwind the arms, bringing your hands slowly back towards the floor. You can step that left foot back. From there, step your right foot back. So again, we're in plank, moving with your own breath, your path to downward dog. And then exhaling to take your left knee down to the floor, rooting the sole of your right foot. Again, you might step your left hand a little bit forward. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling, opening the chest up wide, and finding a good sense of balance here. You can take your right arm alongside your right ear. Again, maybe an option here to place the right hand to the back of the head, wrap the elbow in, and then really reach forward through the point of the elbow. If it doesn't make sense for you, then don't worry about it, just keeping that right arm straight, or finding whatever variation does make sense for you. Lots of opportunity within each pose to explore your own creative variation, your own little story within each shape. And we'll exhale to place the right hand back down to the floor. Set your left knee again just a little bit more towards the middle of the mat. Swing the lower left leg out to the right. Snuggle your right knee in behind your left. Swing your lower right leg over to the left. And then just really slowly, you're coming up onto your fingertips, taking your time so that we can find steady balance. Arms reaching up towards the ceiling. And then we'll bring that left arm under the right, crossing the right arm over the left, bending the elbows, again, palms or backs of the hands or hands to shoulders. And seeing if we can spread the heads of the shoulders wide, press the forearms forward so you get that space in the upper back, room for the breath in the upper back. find that piercing gaze to help you hold your balance here. And then see if you can hug the inner lines of the legs together and still keep lifting your hips away from your heels so that we get into a sense of stretch in the hips, maybe the fronts of the hips or the outer hips. And then very slowly bringing your hands back down towards the floor, stepping your right foot back, stepping your left foot back. And again, moving with your own breath, your path to downward dog, whatever is comfort for your rhythm of breathing. And then from here, we'll walk the feet forward towards the hands, coming to a comfortable forward fold. Knees can be as bent as you like. With an inhale, come halfway up, reach the ribs forward. And exhale to steady, sink back down, let the head be heavy. Inhale, again, halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. Exhale, emptying the belly, sinking back down. And one more time, inhaling to come halfway up, lengthening out the spine, lengthening out the belly. As you're exhaling, we're scooping the belly in and folding back down. And just let yourself dangle here for a moment. You might like to bring your hands to your opposite elbows. You could find a little bit of movement in this shape, like a swaying side to side. A little bit of shaking out your head. Yes, no. And then we'll bring the hands back towards the floor, pressing down through the feet. And inhale to slowly roll up to standing. So keep some bend in your knees as you come up. And just moving slowly through the spine, and eventually straightening out your legs, rooting down through the feet, reaching down through your tailbone, hugging in the belly, lifting the heart, spreading the shoulders wide. And we'll bring the hands together at the center of the chest here. So coming into mountain pose, and I think this one is fairly obvious. What are the qualities of the mountain? And how can you bring those qualities into this shape? And feel that the steadiness and the long-lasting stance of the mountain is present in your body. But also, they say in Zen Buddhism that mountains are walking always, because even structures like mountains, which seem permanent to us, shift and change shape over time. And so we can still feel in our bodies that there is that room for shifting and shape changing that just happens so slowly that it's not visible. And from here, we'll bend the knees, sink the hips low. Inhale to reach your arms up alongside your ears. Fierce pose. Make this one strong. And then we'll exhale to fold, bringing the hands towards the floor. Inhale to come halfway up, reaching your ribs forward. And exhaling to soften down, stepping your right foot back, bringing the right knee down to the floor. You can fold up your mat if you want to. We're going to inhale to reach the arms up alongside the ears. And exhaling to bend your left elbow, so the left hand comes down behind your back. Bring your right hand to your left elbow. You're going to lift the ribs, and then slowly as you're exhaling, leaning over to the left. So long stretch through your right side body, maybe into the right hip. See if you can continue to pull your belly away from your left thigh as you grow up through the rib cage. Maybe you can stretch a little bit more over to the left. And then we'll inhale to come back up to center, both arms reaching tall. Exhaling the hands to the floor, straightening out your right leg, press the mat away from you, stepping back to plank. And slowly again, moving with your own breath, your path to downward dog. Next, inhale, taking the right leg up and back. Exhale the knee into the chest, stepping your right foot forward towards your hands. Left knee down to the mat. Inhale to sweep the arms up. And bending your right elbow so the right hand comes down behind your head, left hand to your right elbow, grow up through the ribs, and then as you exhale, stretching over to the right. Did I do that on the wrong side? Yes. Left hand, left elbow should be bent. We're stretching over to the right and finding a log space in your left side body. Seeing again if you can really pull the belly away from your right thigh, grow up through the ribs as you inhale, and then maybe stretching over a little bit farther as you're exhaling. And inhale to reach both arms back up. Exhale the hands to the floor, stepping your left foot forward to meet the right. Inhale halfway up. Exhaling to soften back down. Bend the knees, sit the hips low. Inhale, again, arms reaching up alongside your ears. Fierce pose. Exhaling to fold, hands back to the floor. Inhaling to come halfway up, reach the ribs forward. Exhale, soften, stepping your left foot back, bringing the left knee down to the mat. Inhale, the arms reaching up. And exhale, bending the left elbow, right hand to your left elbow. This time we're going up through the ribs on the inhale and then exhaling to twist. You're just turning your chest to the right. Belly drawing again away from the right thigh. See if you can keep growing up each time you breathe in. And then find a little bit more of that turn each time you breathe out. So seeing if you can really find the power at your center body, which helps you to turn the ribs away from the hips. And then we'll come back to center, reach the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor, straightening your left leg, stepping carefully back to plank, moving with your breath, your path to downward dog. Inhaling to reach the left leg up and back. Exhale the knee into the chest, stepping the left foot forward to the hands, right knee down to the mat. Inhale, the arms reaching up. And exhaling to bend your right elbow, left hand to the right elbow, reaching up through the ribs, up through that right elbow. And then as you exhale, turning to the left. So seeing if you can really keep the ribs aligned over your hips by drawing in through the belly, taking your torso back. Still let the hips sink low, but don't drop the belly. So we get more sense of stretch in the right hip crease, more sense of length in the torso, and then more access to the power at the center body, which helps us to turn the ribs away from the hips. And coming back to center again, inhale, the arms reaching up. Exhaling the hands to the floor, stepping the right foot forward to meet the left. Inhaling halfway up. Exhaling to sink back down. Bending the knees, sit the hips low. Inhale, arms up alongside your ears. And then exhaling to stand up tall, hands to the center of the chest, finding the mountain. And we're gonna come back to a couple of those hand mudras so we can interlace the fingers, palms to the chest, unshakable faith. And then turning your palms up to the ceiling as you stretch your arms up over your head. A nice tall reach here. Exhaling to lean to the right, or stretch perhaps better to the right. Moving into a side bend, tailbone reaching towards the heels, hugging in through the belly. Go up through your ribs. Maybe you can reach a little bit farther over to the right on your exhale. We'll inhale to come back up to center. Exhale, reaching over to the left, long space in your right side body, and reaching the tailbone down, hugging the belly in so there's support for the low back. Try and lengthen through both sides of your waist as you reach a little bit farther over to the left. And then we'll inhale to come back up to center. Exhale, bring the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers there. Inhale, lift the center of the chest. Exhaling to fold over your thighs and bend your knees a little bit as you soften down. Let the arms start to settle away from your back, moving into a nice stretch in the shoulders here. And then we're gonna bend the knees, sit the hips low, bringing your hands in front of you, hook the thumbs together with the palms facing forward. We're gonna come all the way up, legs straightening as you reach up through those eagle fingers, a little bit of a back bend maybe, and then bringing the palms into prayer and drawing that prayer down the center of your chest. We'll do that again. Fingers together, unshakable faith, palms to your chest. Turning the palms up to the ceiling as you stretch your arms up tall on the inhale. Exhaling to bring yourself into a side bend over to the right. Inhaling to come to center. Exhaling, finding that side bend to the left. Inhaling up to center. Exhaling, the hands come behind the back, interlace the fingers. Inhale, lift the center of the chest. Knees bend, softening over your thighs. As you exhale, let the arms settle away from the back, let the head drop heavy. And bending the knees, bringing your hands in front of you, hooking the thumbs together. Inhale all the way up, arms long, legs long, reaching into a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, hands into prayer, and then drawing that prayer again to the center of your chest. One more time, interlacing the fingers, palms to the heart. Take the palms up to the ceiling as you inhale, stretch tall. Exhale, side bending to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bending to the left. Inhale, up to center. Exhale, hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Inhale, lift the center of the chest. Softness in the knees, exhaling to fold over your thighs, letting the arms sweep away from the back, head heavy. Bend the knees low, bring the hands in front of you, hook the thumbs, palms forward, reaching up, stretch the legs, stretch the arms, a little bit of a lean back. Palms together at the center of the chest, this time folding down towards the floor. Let your hands settle to the mat. Inhale to come halfway up. Exhale to root your hands, leaning your weight into your hands and step or hop back. Again, moving with your own path, finding your route, your adventure to downward dog. Whatever serves your breath. And then we'll inhale to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale, knee into the chest, step the right foot forward to the hands. Bringing your left foot flat to the floor, inhaling to come up to warrior one. So seeing if we can embody again some of those feelings of the warrior, that steady stance, and really feel how your feet connect into the floor, the stability of your legs, the weight of your hips rooting towards the earth. And then all of the courage that we need around the heart to give us more lift in the ribs, more space for our breath in the rib cage. I'm going to steady gaze forward here. And then we'll exhale to move into warrior two. Bring your arms out shoulder height. Again, finding all of that stability in your legs. You can adjust the feet as you need to. Maybe feeling a little bit of a rolling outwards of your right thigh in the hip socket. So you can kind of wrap your right hip under your body, grow the ribs tall, really strong reach out through your arms, your gaze steady over the middle finger of your front hand. And then moving into reverse warrior, sometimes it's called peaceful warrior, which is actually a really nice name. Reaching your right arm alongside your right ear. And then we'll exhale to windmill the hands down to the floor, taking a step back into plank and moving again with your own breath, your path to downward dog. Inhaling to take the left leg up and back. Exhale, knee into the chest, step the left foot forward. Right foot flat to the floor, inhaling up warrior one. And finding the quality of steadiness, stability, and then bravery. And as you exhale, settling into warrior two, again, adjusting the feet as you need to. See again, if you really feel that change in the sensation in the left thigh and the left hip. So we feel how the left thigh bone kind of rolls outwards and the hip hugs in under the body. Ribs grow tall, arms really strongly reaching outwards. Your gaze steady over your middle finger of your left hand. Be unwavering with your gaze. And then reverse or peaceful warrior, the left side body long as you reach your left arm alongside your left ear. Exhaling to windmill the hands to the floor, taking a careful step back. Again, your own path to downward dog. And if you feel like the vinyasas become a little bit too challenging or they get sort of sloppy because you're getting tired, then always feel free to take an easier route or even just go straight from plank to downward dog without anything in between. And inhale again to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale the knee into the chest, step the right foot forward towards your hands. Bringing your left foot flat to the floor. And inhale to come up into warrior one. And this time we'll exhale to bring the arms forward and then crossing your left arm over your right, wrapping the forearms together, either palms together or backs of the hands together or maybe hands to your shoulders. Spreading your shoulders out wide, pressing your forearms forward, and then finding that piercing eagle gaze. See if you can sit your hips low. So we still have this quality of the warrior in the low body, all of that stability still present, and then a little bit more space for flight in the upper body. And think about not just your arms as wings, but even your shoulder blades as wings. Like how can you spread your shoulder blades a little wider on your back to get more of a feeling of wingspan? And then from here, we'll inhale to lift the elbows, reach the fingers up. See if you can keep your shoulders spread wide as you tip your rib cage gently back. Exhale to round into center, elbows hugging in towards your belly. Stay low in the hips, steady in your legs. Inhale again to grow up through the torso, lifting your elbows, reaching up through your fingers. A little bit of a leaning back into a back bend. Exhale to round again into center, elbows towards the navel, let the head drop. Again, stay low in the hips. Inhale to grow up through your torso, lifting your elbows, reaching up through the fingers, tip it back. And exhale to round into center. It will inhale to bring the elbows just as high as the shoulders. And exhale to unwind, coming into warrior two. You can again adjust the feet as you need to here. And then we're going to straighten the right leg. Inhale to reach your right arm as far forward as you're able. Exhaling to bring the right arm down, the left arm up, coming into triangle pose. There's actually a number of ways that we can see the triangle in this shape, but I think maybe the most interesting one is to think about the triangle shape through your right arm, the right side waist, and your right leg. So if we can really find the pointy end of that triangle in the right hip crease, really think about how we create a fold at the right hip. And then look for so much length in your right side body that it feels almost like a straight line rather than a curve. So really stretching your right side ribs away from your right hip. Also thinking about the straight line of the right leg, which for some people means a lot more effort in moving towards straightness. If you feel some tightness in the hamstring or in the inner line of your right leg, then we need more effort in straightening out that leg. For some people, we hyperextend, and so actually finding a straight line in the right leg feels like a little bit more of a bend. So you really have to know what your body is doing and where you are in space to find that perfect triangle shape. And we'll press down through the feet, inhale to come back up. Exhale, bending your right knee, warrior two. From here, I'm going to reach the right arm up alongside the right ear and then bend the right elbow. And take your left hand to your right elbow. You can reach your right arm up into the right elbow. Maybe creeping the fingers a little bit more deeply down the back if that feels available. And hug the belly in. Make sure you're still breathing into your back ribs. And then from here, you can either stay as you are or take your left arm back out to the left, bring it down behind your back, and then see if you can creep your left fingers up towards your right fingers. Maybe you're finding something to hold on to in terms of your hands. Maybe you're just kind of holding on to two pieces of your clothing, also fine. Do what you can. See if you can relax the heads of the shoulders. Draw in through the front ribs again so we're not back bending here. Keep that stable, strong shape in the low body, still finding the quality of the warrior in your low body. And now moving into Gomukhasana Arms, so the cow face arms, which gives us much more of a gentle, contemplative, is that a word? I don't know, but maybe you know what I mean. So the upper body is bringing a balanced quality to that sort of hardness, strongness of the low body. Good, well let that shape in the arms go. Reach your arms out wide. Inhaling to reverse warrior. Exhaling to windmill the hands to the floor. Stepping your right foot back. Moving again with your own breath. Your path to downward dog. And then inhaling the left leg up and back. Exhaling, knee into the chest, stepping your left foot forward towards your hands, right foot flat to the floor. Inhaling up, warrior one. And exhaling to bring your arms forward, crossing the right arm over the left, bending the elbows. Again, finding the shape for your hands that makes sense for you. Spread the shoulders wide, press your forearms forward. See if you can keep the heads of the shoulders away from the ears. Hips stay nice and low. As you're inhaling, start to lift your elbows, reach your fingers up, tip your rib cage back, find that little bit of a back bend. Exhale to round into your center, elbows towards the navel. Stay low through the hips, good strong legs. Inhale to come up through your rib cage, up through the heart, and then finding that quality of flight as you lean back. Exhale again to round into your center. And once more, inhaling to unfurl like a bird, spreading wings. And exhale to curl yourself back in to your own little nest. And we'll keep the hips low. Inhale to bring the elbows shoulder height. Exhale to unwind the arms, warrior two. Good. Straightening your left leg. Reaching your left arm forward. So again, already you can really look for that like point of a triangle at your left hip crease. And then the left arm comes down, the right arm moves up to come into Trikonasana. See if you can keep sending that point of the left hip crease back. As you reach your left hip back, stretch the left side ribs forward so that we really lengthen out as much as possible through the left sideways. So think about a feeling of like a straight edge of a triangle. And then also paying attention to what your left knee is doing and noticing where the straight line arrives. Is it by really working to hug your thigh up towards your hip crease? Or is it by bringing a little bit of softness into the knee so that we take that hyperextended curve out of the leg? Just have to pay really close attention to what our bodies are capable of and where we are in space. And then we'll press down through the feet. Inhale to come back up to standing. Exhaling to bend the left knee. Taking your left arm up alongside your left ear, bending the elbow. Right hand to your left elbow. You're going to reach that point of the elbow up into the hand. Maybe that allows you to creep the left fingers a little deeper down the back. Again, you can stay here, or we could bring the right arm out and then drop it behind the back, bending the elbow, seeing if we can creep the right fingers up towards the left, and just holding on to whatever you can find. And making sure that you haven't allowed yourself to collapse into a back bend here. So we draw the belly in, we hug the front ribs slightly in, and we breathe into the back ribs. You might also think about like kind of just gently drawing your head into the left arm, so that helps us to open up the left shoulder a little bit. Keep reaching up through the point of your left elbow. And then can you combine the quality of the warrior in the low body, that super strong, stable stance, with the quality of the cow in your upper body, who is gentle and kind and eats grass all day? Let the arms go, reaching out again into warrior two. Inhaling to peaceful warrior, left arm reaching back. Exhaling to windmill the hands down to the floor. Stepping back to plank. Again, your path to downward dog. Next, inhale, taking the right leg up and back. Exhale, draw the knee into the chest, step the right foot forward. Left foot flat to the floor. Inhaling to come up to warrior one. Good. From here, shifting your weight into your right foot, maybe tipping the left toes in a little closer, coming into warrior three, really lifting through the inner line of your left leg. Long stretch back through the ball of the foot, long reach forward through your heart, and stretching out the body as much as you're able here. Super solid down through your right leg, finding in that warrior stance through the right leg. And then we're gonna bend the right knee a little bit, bend the left knee, lift the torso, climb your left thigh over your right, and park the foot either to the outside or behind the right calf. Bring your arms forward across the right arm over the left, coming into the full eagle shape. So both the arms and the legs crossed. Sitting your hips low, really squeezing through the center line of your legs and the center line of your arms to find balance. And again, look for that steady gaze, piercing vision of the eagle. And I love this pose because it's just the perfect representation, I think, of the eagle, like perched at the top of a cliff, surveying the land below. I don't know if anyone's been to Rock Thunder. You can imagine you're at the top of Rock Thunder and you're an eagle and you're looking out over the trees and the water and you can see everything. Maybe just for a moment here, finding a little bit of the fold if that's available to you, so the hips go back, the heart goes forward, the elbows might park eventually in front of the knees. Mine don't anymore because there's a baby in the way. Good. And then we'll slowly come back up, unwinding, take a big step back, landing in warrior two, arms out, shoulder height. We'll inhale to reverse warrior, the right arm sweeping back. Exhale your right forearm to your right thigh, left arm alongside your left ear. You could stay here. If you like a deeper variation, maybe bringing your right hand to the floor. Again, I really like this little extra variation of bringing the left hand to the back of the head, wrapping the elbow in and stretching forward through the point of the elbow. If that feels useful for you, maybe try it out. Just gives a little bit more room in the left side ribs. Keep a good bend in your right knee. You can really wrap the right hip under the body as you roll your left side ribs open, turning your heart a little bit more towards the light. Again. We'll inhale once more to come back to reverse warrior along through your right side body, and then exhaling to windmill the hands to the floor, step back to plank, your path to downward dog. Inhale to reach the left leg up and back. Exhale, knee into the chest, stepping the left foot forward, right foot flat to the floor. Warrior one on the inhale, steady, strong, ready for the world. And we're exhaling into warrior three. And I know like basically everybody hates this pose, but still steady, strong, ready for the world. Can you make that left leg shoot more firmly down into the earth? Can you be stronger in your right leg and in your core to help support the body in space? Yeah, and then we're going to slowly bend a little bit through both knees, lifting the torso, climbing the right thigh over the left, moving into eagle pose. Arms come forward, left arm crosses over the right, finding the shape for your hands that works for you. Squeeze the thighs together, squeeze your arms together. Notice where your eyes are going. What can they fix on? So that's your external drishti, your external gaze, just to help you have a reference for stillness. Your internal gaze can see so much more. Your internal gaze can see whole landscapes and universes, all of the details of your inner body, of your human experience. So you are the eagle that can now see everything in both your outer world and your inner world with great focus. Again, maybe just a little bit of that fold. Hips go back, heart goes forward, elbows come down, maybe eventually in front of your knees. And then we'll slowly come back up, unwinding the legs, unwinding the arms, big step back, landing in warrior two. And we're inhaling to reverse, left side body long. Exhaling, left forearm to your left thigh, right arm alongside the right ear. Or again, maybe left hand to the floor. Maybe the right hand to the back of the head, wrapping the elbow in and reaching forward through the point of the elbow. A little bit more of a lengthening out of the torso. And paying good attention to your left hip. Really want to feel how the left thigh bone is just slightly rotating outwards in the hip socket. So as we draw the left hip into the mid-body, but keep the left knee aligned in the left toes, there should be some sensation in the outer left hip. And once more, pressing into the feet. Inhale, reverse, left arm long alongside your left ear. And exhaling the hands to the floor, stepping back to plank. Carefully moving through your vinyasa so it doesn't have to be complicated or difficult. And just make sure that each movement is intentional. And resetting again in downward dog. Good. One more round. We'll inhale to reach the right leg up and back. Exhale, knee into the chest, stepping your right foot carefully forward, left foot flat to the floor. Inhaling to come up, warrior one. Exhaling and to find that strong and steady warrior three, floating your left leg away from the floor. And then from here, hands settling down towards the mat so we can move into standing split. So you can even really split your legs away from each other, lifting the inner line of your left leg. As much as you reach up with that left leg, see if you can take your heart forward and down towards the floor. The more we're able to lean into the ball of the right foot, into the hands, and the more we get kind of a seesaw to take the left leg up a little bit higher. Good, and then we'll exhale to bring the left knee in behind the right and start to bend both knees. Sit your hips down a little bit. Notice how your belly comes towards your right thigh. See if you can keep a bit of that connection. We'll start to lift the hips, lift that left leg all the way back up. Again, standing split. Again, as you're exhaling, left knee in behind the right, sitting the hips down, maybe a little bit lower this time, belly connecting to your right thigh, leaning your weight forward. See if you can keep that connection as you float the left leg back up towards the ceiling. And then one more time, left leg coming in behind the right. This time we're going to sit all the way down behind the right heel, so you're sitting to the inside of your left leg. See if you can settle your hips evenly towards the floor. If you can't, you can straighten out your left leg as an option here. And then bringing your right hand behind you, inhale the left arm reaching up. Exhale, turning to the right and connecting your left arm in some way with your right leg. And just take a few steady breaths here into this twisted shape. And then we'll slowly come back to center. Leaning the weight again into the right foot, leaning into your hands, floating your left leg back up, standing split. Exhaling to step your left foot down. We'll windmill up into warrior two, arms out shoulder height. Straightening the right leg, turn the right toes to the left and angle your toes slightly in, bringing your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift the center of the chest. Exhaling to fold, bringing your hands to the floor. Inhale to come halfway up. Exhaling to scoop the belly in and fold a little bit deeper. Maybe you're setting your hands flat to the floor, maybe bringing your hands in line with your feet, all fingers and toes pointing in the same direction. Looking for length up the backs of your legs here, spreading your sits bones wide as you inhale, and then drawing in through the low belly and stretching your ribs down as you exhale. And we'll inhale again to come back up onto the fingertips, heart reaching forward. Exhaling to bring your hands to your hips. Inhaling to come up to standing, turning your right toes forward, bending the right knee. Again, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior, right arm alongside your right ear. Exhaling, hands to the floor, stepping back to plank, your path to downward dog. Inhale to take the left leg up and back. Exhale, knee into the chest, step the left foot forward, right foot flat to the floor, arms up on the inhale, warrior one. Exhaling into warrior three. Really strong down through your left leg, reaching out through the ball of the foot, forward through the heart on the top side. And then we'll exhale to bring the hands down to the floor, folding into a standing split shape. And think about split as a verb. Really feel how you might take your legs away from each other, but still kind of like scissors. They still hug the same connecting point at the top of the midline. Maybe a little bit more lean forward to float the leg up higher. And then we'll exhale to bring the right knee in behind the left, sit the hips down, belly comes towards your left thigh. See if you can keep a bit of that connection as you fold your torso down and float your right leg up, back into standing split. Exhale, right knee behind the left, maybe the hips sit a little bit lower. So folding at the left hip crease, keep that sense of the fold. Belly towards your left thigh as the right leg floats all the way back up. And last time, exhale, right knee snuggles in behind the left. This time bringing the hips down to the floor so you're sitting behind your left heel to the inside of your right heel. Maybe you like to straighten out your right leg here if that feels more accessible. Left hand behind you. Inhale to reach the right arm up. And then exhale, right arm in some connection with your left leg, moving into your twist. You're sitting up really tall each time you inhale, turning with the ribs, letting your gaze follow as you exhale. Just a gentle squeezing out of the center body here. And then we'll come back to center, bringing your hands forward, leaning your weight into your left foot, floating the right leg all the way back up, standing split. And then bending your left knee, big step back with the right foot. Windmill the arms up, warrior two. And straightening your left leg, turning your toes, left toes towards the right, turning the toes slightly inwards, bringing your hands behind your back this time, interlace the fingers. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale, folding and letting the arms settle away from the back. And just taking a few steady breaths here. Again, lots of effort in straightening up your legs in this shape. So we can draw the kneecaps, the thighs up, so that we get more length in the backs of the legs. Feel your breath in the backs of your legs. And draw the inner lines of the thighs back and apart to spread the sits bones wide. And then just as much as you're able, easing into that stretch in your shoulders. Taking this opportunity to let your head go so the neck and the face are relaxed. And then we'll press into the feet. Inhale to come all the way back up. Turning your left toes forward, bending the left knee, arms out, warrior two. Inhaling to peaceful warrior. Exhaling, hands windmill to the floor, step back to plank. Last time, finding your path to downward dog. And then from here, we'll bring the knees down to the floor. You can just sit your hips off to one side. Take the legs forward. So we'll move into the full Gomukhasana shape, cow face pose. And we can talk about the qualities of the cow face once we get there. I like to teach this pose often in a more simple shape where we get the heels closer into the hips, but I think we're warm enough to try it maybe in a more intense variation. So we see if we can actually bring the right knee kind of to a 90-degree bend. So right shin parallel to the top edge of your mat. And you might even shift your hip so that the right thigh is truly parallel to the long edge of your mat. And then we cross the left thigh over the right, and we allow the left thigh to spin outward so that we can settle the left knee on top of the right. And again, you could kind of feel like how you might shift your hips here to really get almost a parallel line through the shin bones, and the hips are just right in the middle. If this doesn't work for you, option to just keep the right leg straight and cross the left thigh over top. In that case, maybe you feel more of a stretch if you bring the heel in towards the hip. So you can experiment with a little bit. Also an option to sit on some support if you feel like you need a little bit more height to get the hips evenly down. But we want to feel like a good amount of sensation in the outer hips, external rotation of the thighs. You can sit up nice and tall. And then we're going to reach the right arm up alongside the right ear, bending the right elbow so the hand comes behind the back. Left arm out to the left, and it might be helpful here to really pay attention to the space of the shoulder. So we can first roll the palm up to externally rotate the upper arm, so rolling the upper arm bone outwards. And then just turning from your wrist, turn the thumb down, bring your left hand behind the back, bend the elbow, and see if you can again connect something behind your back, maybe just hands to your shirt, or maybe you're able to reach your fingers. We see if we can keep reaching up through the point of the right elbow. Maybe you can kind of lean your head a little bit into that arm so there's more room for the shoulder to get a little bit of a stretch or a lot of a stretch. And relax the heads of the shoulders, relax your hips. Hug the front ribs slightly in, breathe into the upper back. So if you can imagine here just the cow chewing his cud. It's a very relaxed image. You think about where the cow lives, hopefully. Don't think about where the cow actually lives. Think about where the cow lives, like on the pretty picture on the milk carton. Green grass, blue sky. And the cow just spends all day moving through that grass, and he's not in a rush, or she probably is not in a rush. She has the most relaxed jaw. She has the most kind and gentle eyes. And we'll slowly let this go. I'm going to see if we can find the other side. So uncrossing the legs. And you start by bringing your left leg into that sort of 90-degree shape. We might shift the hips already here so the left thigh is parallel to the long edge of the mat, and then we cross the right knee over the left, and we see if we can settle that right thigh bone outwards so that the right hip can come down. And again, you might readjust the hips so they're really in the middle, and we get a parallel line outwards across the tops of the shins. If this shape doesn't work for you, then perhaps explore one of the other variations we talked about. So maybe left leg straight, maybe the heels closer in towards the hips, maybe some support under the hips. We'll take the left arm up now, bending the left elbow, the hand behind the back. Right arm can reach out, or first maybe take the right hand to the left elbow just to get a little bit more of that creeping the fingers down the back. And then we could reach the right arm out. Roll the shoulder open, so palm turning up, the arm bone rolls outwards, and then we keep that open shape and we just turn the thumb down, hand comes behind the back, and seeing if you can connect to something behind you, and feeling in your fingertips whatever sensation there is to feel. And just letting the hips rest a little bit more deeply towards the floor, letting go of the outer hips. Still finding some support from your core to lift the ribs up tall. Keep reaching up through that left elbow point. At the same time, settle the heads of the shoulders. Maybe you can kind of lean your head a little bit back into the left arm. So take the time that you need here to try and figure out how to make this pose feel at least a little bit more comfortable. And then take some time to think about how you are being in this pose. Is there that area for contemplation? Is there room for nature? Do we have the sort of pastoral pace in our bodies? Can we embody the gentle gaze of the cow? And you let go of the arms, uncross the legs. For a moment, you can just lean back into your hands and kind of give your legs a little side to side, rocking out. Good, and then we can take the legs straight forward, sit up nice and tall on the front edge of the sits bones. Inhale to reach your arms up. Exhale, a nice forward fold. Make it relatively gentle here, just finding some stretch along the back line of the legs. Really relax your shoulders, relax your head. So we could be a little bit rounder in this shape so that the upper back is moving into a little bit of a different experience than what we just had. Back of the neck, a little bit longer. The head nice and heavy, the face relaxed. And then we'll inhale to slowly come back up. And bring the soles of the feet to the floor. And slowly ease your way down onto your back. Keeping the soles of the feet to the floor, you can set them up for bridge pose, so feet about hip width apart, heels close into your sits bones, hands by your sides. Pressing down through your feet, and inhale to lift your hips, interlace your fingers if you're able. You can snuggle your shoulders in towards each other, so coming into bridge pose. And think about the span of a bridge over a river, the arc of the body, like a really supportive, connective structure. Maybe you can find a little bit more length here by reaching your tailbone towards your knees, your chest towards your chin. Perhaps you might envision here some of the more graceful or beautiful bridges that you know, and embody that shape. Or even just the metaphor of the bridge can be a quite beautiful thing to bring into your body. And then we'll exhale to settle back down. You can let the hands separate, hips heavy to the floor. For a moment, bring your feet out a little bit wider, let the knees fall in towards each other. You could take hand to the belly, hand to the heart if you like. Breathing into your hands as they rest on your body. And then we'll wiggle the feet in towards each other and let the knees fall out to the sides. So we could keep the hands as they are, or you might like hands to the inner thighs for some weight there, or maybe finding that prayer mudra, again, the hands together, and then resting the thumbs along the center line of the forehead, so there's just a bit of weight at the center of the forehead, or a reminder to bring sensation into the center of the forehead. And I'll just take a few breaths here, really letting the inner line of the legs split apart, so we're letting go of that center line. For most of our yoga poses in standing or even in seated shapes, we need a hug towards the midline to give us stability. But it's also always important to know how to fall apart. And then we'll take the hands to the outer thighs and draw the knees in towards each other. And then in towards the chest, your hands to your shins or arms around your shins. You can rock a little bit side to side here, so just giving your back a gentle massage. And then as you're ready, settling into Shavasana, take your arms and legs straight out on the mat, or set yourself up in some way that works for you. If you feel any discomfort in the low back, it's maybe worthwhile to have your knees bent, either by supporting them with a bolster or something bolster-like, or by simply placing the soles of the feet to the floor. And we can carry again this idea of splitting or spilling outwards into the Shavasana shape. So really let the midline of the legs relax. And take some time to be soft in your belly, soft around the space of your heart. And allow the thumbs to roll outward so the inner arms are relaxed. And relax the throat, the jaw, the mouth, the eyes, the point between your eyes. And the name of Shavasana is, of course, the most important in all of the named poses, corpse pose. So we practice here for death or for the experience of non-attachment. We let go of everything that binds us to this world, including the awareness of our physical bodies, or the holding onto of our physical bodies, including the holding onto of our own unique identity. So we try and feel ourselves becoming more diffuse. Feel that our skin is porous, that we can spill out beyond the boundary of the skin. And that's not just symbolic, actually. It's really true that your skin is porous, that your breath is shared between you and every other living existence on this planet, that we are constantly exchanging moisture and gases and chemicals with our environments. So you can take this time to know that you are part of the world, that you are not separate. And when your own individual identity dies, you are still part of the world. So that practicing for death is also a recognition of the eternal quality of whatever it is that makes us up. And maybe we can include in what makes us up the element of spirit. The parts of ourself, the parts of life that we can't see, that science doesn't yet know about or understand. Let's take another few moments here to let that sense of your spirit unfurl. And then gathering yourself back in, you can start to find conscious breath, which explores the boundaries of your skin, the edges of your physical body. You start to bring movement into your fingers and your toes. And then inhaling to reach your arms behind your head, take a nice long, full stretch. Exhale to bend the knees, roll onto your right side. And finding your way slowly up to a seat. And just find a comfortable seat, cross-legged or whatever works for you. And noticing maybe how it feels in your hips now to be in this seat. We'll take the hands together at the center of the chest, and for a moment again opening into that lotus mudra. So the fingers spreading out wide, this quality of blossoming, rising out of the mud. And just breathing for a few moments here with this open shape in your hands, and just notice how that feels, and if it feels different in some way than the usual experience of having your hands folded in. If there's some story that we can explore by simply changing the shape of our fingers. And then we'll fold the fingers back in, closing into prayer. The light that is within me recognizes the light that is within you, within each of us. Namaste. Great. Thanks for coming. I'm not out of breath at all, so I think that was probably way too easy. I'm gonna have to make it harder next week. Or not. Or maybe we'll make it harder next week if Chelsea's demonstrating. I hope that we'll see you again soon in the internet, and always feel free to leave a comment. It's nice to know that you're out there. Yeah, that's all I got.